What is happening, Bachis, Bakos and Babachis? Pav here from Collective Growth, and in this video I'm gonna tell you about the story of how I met Disney CEO, as well as give you practical tips and steps of how to find and meet successful people. We're starting right now. Okay, welcome back. Now, to tell you about this story, we have to go maybe 4 years back when I was an intern. I was still in university. I just landed my first placement ever with the Walt Disney Company in London, which I thought at the time this was me at the top of the world. I thought I've just made it already. Of course, after a couple of weeks I realized, okay, there's actually a lot more to actually making it. But the point was that I was there. The first, even probably a month, was actually very, very difficult for me because I was probably one of the few, if not the only one, out of 200 and something interns in the company, and in that office, particularly in London, that my English wasn't really my native tongue, so I was having really difficulties and actually struggling with actually speaking to people. But as time passed, I got a little bit more comfortable with doing that. So as I was already getting into the flow and understanding my responsibilities, working with the team, working with the colleagues, I was genuinely curious about what are these, senior people actually doing, directors and vice presidents and senior vice presidents and chief executive or something. So I was like, okay, I've never been at that big of a company before. I'm actually quite curious to see what these people are doing. So I befriended one of the senior directors, they were senior managers actually, and I managed to convince him to, hey, can we sit down for 20 minutes, I'll buy a coffee or whatever, and we can just talk a little bit about what exactly is it that you do on a daily basis, because it's such a humongous company. I want to just get to know a little bit, things a little bit better. So he said, sure man, no problem. So we sat down, 30 minutes passed by, he's already talking and he's opening up because I'm asking him a lot of questions about what he does, why he started the job in the first place, what he likes about it, all these kind of things. So naturally people tend to open up. And after the interview finished, I was like, wow, this stuff really works, this is amazing. So again, I was like, okay, if this could work with a senior manager, can it work with a director? So one day I managed to find the courage and find the guts to actually go and knock on the door of one of the directors, which was sitting opposite our office. And I don't know how, but I managed to kind of ask him, excuse me, John, would it be, my name is, I had to do an introduction of who I was. And I just asked him, would it be okay if I have 10 minutes of your time, whenever you're free of course, to sit down and just ask you a little bit about a few questions, just to interview you. And naturally people, out of curiosity or the fact that they're willing to help out a small intern, which I kind of used to my advantage, they naturally say yes. So I went there, I had a conversation with him, and I was like, wow, blown away. A, this stuff really works. B, people really open up and really want to kind of help out and give as much information as possible. And also me actually understanding more about the company, I was like, wow, this stuff really works. So I did the same thing with a senior vice president, which is the next level above. I did so much research for this guy that basically I knew what his likes were on Facebook, so I did a bit of Facebook stalking there.
Weirdo, stalker.
I knew that he was actually interested in hockey, so I made sure to include questions about that when I actually approached him. And of course he said yes. We sat down, we had a conversation. I said something about hockey and one of the greatest players there, and he was like, whoa, okay. And then I really sparked his interest. Literally maybe 10 minutes into the interview, I didn't say a word. He was just talking about hockey and his passion and love for hockey, how he got into it, how he doesn't play it because he's in London anymore. And also started reflecting more on his career so far, whether he made the right choices, all these kind of things. So I was like, wow, okay. And I'll even remember what he said halfway through the interview. He had a meeting, so he said, I'm sorry, we have to, cut the conversation short, but I'm happy to continue afterwards. And what happened afterwards, I was like, okay, no problem. And he walked all the way from across the office, really big office, and he knocked on my door and said, do you want to come back and finish the interview? I was like, yeah. So yeah, that was a little bit crazy. So I can see that, wow, I'm actually getting results and I don't see anybody else doing that. This is kind of really strange. So I thought, okay, what's the next level, you know? I want to really go to the very, very top, to the CEO. The CEO at the time is a CEO of the whole EMEA region, which is, you know, Eastern Europe, no.
He said what?
Europe, Middle East and Africa. This is a huge portion of the company. And it's basically the number 3 person in the whole company. So I thought about, okay, I need to be a little bit clever here. And at the time I was actually reading The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Amazing book, very relevant still to this day. One of the chapters, I'm not gonna give away too much, but go and read it for yourself. In one of the chapters, Tim argues that, you know, you have to be unrealistic and unreasonable. Basically, the premise of this is a lot of people are shooting for mediocre goals, you know, because of, you know, the parents said to them, or because of peer pressure, or because society tells them, oh, you shouldn't be aiming super high because it's gonna be difficult, you aren't gonna make it, so shoot for something that's safe. So mediocre goals. Now the counterintuitive thing is that by definition most people are gonna be doing the same thing, right? So that increases competition and decreases your chances of actually success. Now Tim is also saying, where is it? Instead of doing that, you should be aiming for the very top of the echelon, because there's less competition, most people don't believe they can make it in the first place, and your chances of actually getting something or achieving something by doing that are much higher. So it's like, okay, this makes sense. Then he went on to point that in one of the, again, the same chapter, how a guy actually met Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt at the time was the CEO of Google. So basically, this guy identified a similar interest with Eric Schmidt and wrote a very compelling but very simple and straightforward email, which you can see over here, to Eric Schmidt. The very next day I had a meeting with the whole company at Leicester Square, big cinema theater, which was rented out by the company, where the CEO was actually giving a talk. And I thought, okay, I need to go and actually check this out. So the first thing I did is I walk in there. I was a little bit late because I was doing some work, and I hear him addressing the entire audience of maybe 3,000 people. So he's saying, you probably haven't heard about this book, it's called Good to Great. And I was like, Good to Great? I've heard about this book, of course, Good to Great by Jim Collins, great classic, I just haven't read it yet because it's on my book list. And I didn't really listen to the entire conversation, I was just thinking, okay, Good to Great, this is my hook. So I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to do that. So for the next week or so, what I did was I googled Good to Great by Jim Collins. I found it on YouTube, it was an audiobook. So throughout my lunch breaks, I was sitting on my computer plugged in, listening to Good to Great, taking notes very diligently, even I had to stay overtime, and really kind of found a few questions which I can actually ask the CEO. So basically I found something that's called the hedgehog concept, which was in the book, and I just took that concept and applied it to Disney. So I crafted a quick email introducing myself. Hey, my name is so-and-so. I really liked your presentation the other day at Leicester Square, so I give him a bit of compliment. I work under this department, and I had a quick question about the book that you said. I've also read it, it's a great book. I just wanted to know how the hedgehog concept applies to Disney. I understand you're a very busy man, and it would really just mean the world to me if you just come back with me, even with one sentence. Thank you very much. So one day passes by, nothing. Second day passes by, nothing. The third day, I come into the office, it's 9 AM in the morning, I'm still half awake, half sleepy, and I just see an email from Diego. I'm like, wow, this guy actually replied. You can see the email here. I was just like over the moon. I was like, my gosh, this stuff really works. This is crazy. So my boss was like, hey man, cool it down, everybody's trying to work here. I was like, okay, I couldn't really hold my emotions together. So I was super excited. I was like, wow, okay, we can do this. I've never seen such a big office in my life. And the guy was really imposing and had a certain presence to him that is very difficult to describe. You really have to experience it. And the moment that happened, I realized, okay, this success thing is not actually, reserved for some, few people which are great or something like this. No, something like this can be done by, ordinary people. Which leads me to the next point. Let me give you some tips and pointers about how you can do something similar. Okay, welcome back. Now, I want to tell you a quick story first. So, again, roughly around the same time when I met Disney CEO, I really wanted to find a mentor. I was really into personal development, which I still am for those of you that actually observe and are aware. But I really wanted to learn NLP and really kind of understand more about neuro-linguistic programming, what this thing is all about, psychology, behavior. That was like my forte. So I went to a couple of seminars in London. I couldn't really relate to any of the speakers. I thought they weren't probably necessarily competent. I just couldn't resonate with them. I didn't have enough chemistry, I guess. And to the point where I actually went to this event. And the guy who was speaking is still a very personal friend of mine, a very good guy, James Hutchinson. I went to him and instantly within the first 30 minutes I was like hooked. I was like, okay, this is the guy I need to go and meet and do whatever it takes to actually work for this guy. So what happened was I waited for the first break. I went there, introduced myself and said, hey man, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Just wanna know how I can help you or work here, because I saw that there weren't really that many people actually helping him out on the seminars or the events. So I was like, okay, I really actually want to contribute, how can I do that? So this brings us to the first point, is think about first of all, who is the person that you want to connect? For me, it was a person who, I didn't know exactly who I wanted to connect with, but I know what I was interested in. I was interested in neuro-linguistic programming, personal development. I went to a seminar and instantly, okay, this is the guy I want to go and meet. So I went to him, he told me, okay, you need to get a shirt, make sure to come. The moment I got the shirt, I think I've been to maybe 30 consecutive weekends afterwards. I didn't take any breaks, I didn't skip any breaks, I just was there to do whatever it takes. Okay, you need some help with the welcoming desk and welcoming clients, no problem, I'm the person to do that. Okay, you need me to bring some more water, or bring some more fruits, or go and buy them from the shop. Okay, I'm the person to do that. Okay, you need actually someone to be there extra early at like 6:30 or 7 to actually set up the venue because you won't be able to make it. Okay, I'm the guy to do that. Which leads me to the second point, which is after you find the person, look for the problem, look for what exactly is it they need, so their needs become your needs. So again, you're trying to really align yourself with themselves. What are their problems? Where can actually bring the most value, or help them out, so I make their life easier. So as I've already explained, I was making sure to be super consistent, and whatever was needed or required from me, I made sure to do it by the best of my ability. Now, point number 3 is don't wait for permission. After you've identified a problem, or for example, you can't necessarily, if you don't have a contact with this person, or you can't meet them, physically for now, think about, okay, after you find the problem and this is a problem for them, think about how you can actually solve this proactively. Don't wait for permission, don't wait someone to give you the note, don't wait someone to tell you, oh, this is actually a problem, can you actually help me out? No, don't do that. People are way too busy. You wanna be, coming there from a point of, hey man, I think this is something that might be helpful, here it is. And not waiting for permission, that's super important part. Which leads me to another example. So after I've announced the results here with the 0 to 10K a month challenge, some people naturally reach out to me and says, great inspiration, you're doing an amazing job, thanks for helping me out. And some people ask for coaching. And for whatever reason, they couldn't afford, for example, the coaching price tag. But what they did say is, can we think about some win-win? And I said, sure. And then I didn't hear from them. Radio silence. So this is exactly my point. Don't wait for me to come and say, okay, what's actually a problem, or I'm trying to figure out. try to be proactive with these kind of things. Most of the times people are very busy to be, thinking, specifically. Sometimes they would happen, I'm not saying no, but most of the time try and think about how you can make this person's life easier. That's the whole point. Now, extra bonus points is don't expect necessarily everything. I know it's a little bit counterintuitive, but try and really give and focus on the person and focus on solving this problem for them and try and give them as much value as you can, but without expecting anything. Trying to be there. Obviously, developing a relationship, building it from scratch takes time. So if something doesn't happen or you don't get recognized for, the first week, the second week, either the problem isn't big enough or you just need a little bit more time. As I said, I was there probably 30 consecutive weekends, no excuses, non-stop. And I was there because I was genuinely interested, so this was like a real big passion and still is to this day. And B, I know, okay, I can get coaching opportunities here, I can learn from a great mentor, and I'm surrounded by people that I want to be surrounded by. Okay guys, I hope this was actually helpful and useful. You already have the practical steps and kind of an overview of how to find and reach out to really successful people and what the actual framework and also your mindset should be to actually, reach out to them and build this relationship with them. If you liked the video, guys, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, allow the notifications so you're notified every single time I post a new video, and of course leave a comment, let me know what type of content you'd like to see next from me, and I'll make sure to deliver. Until next time, peace out and I see you soon.